Live from their living rooms, it's The Director's Chair with Stanton Welch.
Hello everybody, my name is Stanton Welch and this is our first Houston Ballet vlog. I'm here with Jessica Collado, Principal Dancer with Houston Ballet, and we're going to do a little bit of an interview to get to know Jessica a bit better. How are you doing?
Doing good, considering these crazy days, these circumstances. I definitely didn't think that this would be lasting as long as it has, but I guess trying to make the most of it.
Yeah.
I'm also 37 and a half weeks pregnant. I've got like 2.5 weeks left. So I've been using that time to kind of prepare. So it's, I wouldn't say, it's worked out, but I'm making the most of it, I'd say.
Great. So let's, just so people can get to know you a little bit better, can you tell me where you're from and what was the first thing that you made your movement into dance? When did you start to learn dance? What triggered that?
So I'm originally from South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area, which is where Barb is from too, actually, crazy. My parents put me in classes when I was about 4. I did a little bit of everything, jazz, tap, ballet, those combo classes. And then I started going to it was kind of like a competition jazz studio that had a ballet academy attached to it. It was called Rising Stars with a Z. And actually Oliver went to that studio as well. And we never knew each other. We were like ships passing in the wind, which I think says a lot about the two of us. But I think that's what got me hooked as a dancer, was being able to have a lot of performance abilities at a young age. I think I was drawn to the stage and the drama and the theatricality of it. So that's kind of how my roots started.
And then you came to Houston Ballet Academy. How old were you then?
I did. So my dad ended up getting a job transfer and my family moved up to like a suburb of Atlanta when I was about 13. And that is kind of when I started going away for summer intensive programs. And I went to a couple others first that were close by. And then I came to Houston. I got a full scholarship, which my parents were very excited about. And I think my first summer in coming to Houston Ballet was in 2001. And I was hooked. It was my favorite program. It was the hardest program I had been to, which I loved. I felt like I learned the most and I progressed the most coming out of it. So I came back 3 summers in a row. And after that summer, I came and joined what's HB2 now, for a year.
No, I remember your graduation performance. You were in A Time to Dance, which was, and did the Red Girl solo.
Which is a hard solo.
4 minutes. It's 4 minutes long. It's probably one of the hardest female solos I've ever made.
Yeah, I know. Which I think is crazy is I feel like our careers kind of were the same. That was your first season here too as director, I believe, was my year in school. Yeah.
And I made A Time to Dance was actually my very first ballet, and it was on the Australian Ballet School. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know it was your first. That's crazy.
So then you joined Houston Ballet, and you have been in many, many ballets. Tell me about joining the company, and what is that transition like from being in the school into being in the Corps de Ballet?
Well, I feel like you're never short of work, here, which is what I really love about this company, is that the rep is so diverse. There's always something that you're working on, at least 4 things that you're working on. So having to, use your time management to make sure that you knew your choreography going into the studio. I think a big transition going from, being in the school to the company as well is that, you're no longer being babied, and you have to kind of self-discipline and, push yourself individually to keep working hard, to show up every day, to keep improving. So yeah, you become, a little fish in a big pond, and you have to just stay focused.
But you always had great work. What do you think of when you think of what was your first big break? Like, was there something that you thought, wow, this is, I'm getting to do this, and when you're young?
I feel like there was two instances that stand out for me in my apprentice year, actually. One of them was Your Meninius. I don't know if you remember this. Me and Connor were like third or fourth cast, and I remember we were a couple weeks away from opening the shows at the Wortham. We were not scheduled to perform, and there was a random rehearsal where people were called out. Maybe somebody was in a fitting, somebody got injured, and you threw the two of us in. And I remember saying to Connor, like, this is our chance. And you ended up giving us shows, which was incredible. So I got to do the Red Girl as an apprentice. And then I ended up getting to do the Potado with Ian because I think Mimi got hurt. So that was a big, I can't believe this is happening moment for me. The other one was also my apprentice year. Christopher Bruce had me do the Rooster Girl first cast, which I think was another black swan moment where I went in the bathroom and like cried, and I was like, is this really happening? So yeah, that's where.
Yeah, so tell me about a time where you were throwing on, where you were at half-hour call, you suddenly get that panic. All dancers have one of those moments, and you've got a brief period, maybe a day or two, and you're going on.
That Potado, I remember, was one of those.
I think of Meninius, Nosotros.
Yes, when we were on tour, I do remember I did that last Potado with Ilya, which was a feat for the two of us. But yeah, we made the papers. He was great. It was a lot of fun. I don't know. I think those moments end up being the best because you kind of know, like, I have to do this. You put your fear and your nerves behind you, and you kind of plow through.
So we're about to show the audience Sylvia and you were in the original cast of that. Can you tell us a little bit about your character, the role, and what she meant to you?
Yeah, I think I was, I did the role of Artemis, and I want to say I think that was one of my favorite creative experiences with you as far as getting to be in an original role. She was, let's see, where do I start with her? She was a huntress. She had a very strong disposition to her. She also had a twin brother, Apollo, and the two of them were always kind of fighting to be daddy's favorite. And of course, he always picked his son. So she was kind of always that little step under, which I think made her, you know, even harder, even more competitive. So yeah, there was that aspect of her. And then she also had this relationship with Orion, which I think was great because it got to show her softer side, or the side that she had inside that, you know, she was hiding from everybody else. So getting to dabble in those two personalities was a lot of fun.
And it's a beautiful end piece of music. I think that
it's the best.
Yeah.
I remember the first rehearsal when we were listening to it, and the two of us just started crying listening to the music.
It has such sentiment in it. And tell me about one of the most emotional times you've had on stage where you sort of transcend yourself or your fear, and you are fully in the character and sobbing or emoting, and you have to catch yourself that you're not really there.
Yeah. There's a lot. But I think those are the roles that I cherish and I love. I know there was a bunch as Lady Capulet in Romeo and Juliet, you know, where you have these super intimate scenes when it's, you know, just you and Juliet, and you get wrapped up in each other's emotions, and the next thing you know, you exit and you're like, I don't know what just happened. Suzuki is another really, really great one, because she's just kind of the emotional background character throughout the whole ballet. And she carries the weight and stress and the burden all on her shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So I'm just looking on my office, which is now the window, but I have one more question for you. So what is the connection that we have with the audience? It's not when you bow at the end and you hear them appreciate you. It's an interesting feeling. It's an interesting connection. And of course we miss them. What is so special about that with our audience?
I don't know. Sometimes it's like you feel their presence most when it's completely silent.
Quiet.
No, right? It's just that weight, that I don't know, the depth of like the darkness. It just has this power. It's hard to explain. You're right, but it is. I wouldn't say it's at the end when you're bowing. It's yeah, it's definitely either right when you first come out or in those silent moments when you know that they're with you and they're in your story and a part of your character.
Yeah. No, it's an undefinable feeling. This one's been wanting to say hello the whole time, snorting down. I needed to explain that wasn't me making those sounds, but thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to see you, and we'll chat tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.